is going to be a shambles of a show. I'm telling you right now. Wow, it's going to be bad. It's going to be painful. Well, hello and welcome into this Tuesday's movie news. I am Jonathan, back to discuss more movie news from the world of Hollywood today. More specifically, more pointedly, Star Wars, bit of MCU, another comic book related thing that I didn't know existed until today, and then ending with the Batman, Barry Keoghan. That's the show. This is going to be a shambles. I am using Stream Deck software that simply does not want to work with the latest version of OBS, and it's creating nothing but consternation, and that's the best way I can use it. That's the very best adjective that I can pluck out of thy's arse. But look, man, as you can see, Star Wars fans want Bale as live action Thrawn. I've posed the question in the thumbnail: will he be the live action Thrawn? The reason this has been discussed, and incidentally, as soon as I go to this, I just know that the capture's not going to be right, and I know that the browser is not going to be in the shot, because it's a fucking shambles, this show tonight. But look, this is the reason I'm discussing it. It was a nifty little article from MovieWeb that caught my fancy. My dogs fell over. That was like that episode of The Simpsons there. That sounded like a pig falling over. That sounded like a Labrador falling over, but he's not. He's not lying on the ground. He's sitting behind me, watching me. Weirdly. Yeah, Star Wars fans, obviously they want Bale as live action Thrawn. That's the main sort of gist of it. But the man himself has been out speaking. He's been out speaking about a great desire to appear in Star Wars. In some vein, he was even happy to be a stormtrooper hitting his head off of a door frame. I think that's what it was. I'm not that anal on stormtroopers hitting their helmets off of door frames. I did notice it. I didn't really care about it. There has been a whole fandom of its own who have dedicated their entire fucking life's work to discovering exactly who, what extra, whatever the fuck you want to call him, what it was who actually hit his head off the door frame. I don't go that deep. Christian's been speaking about it though. He wants an inroad into Star Wars. This guy seems to be mellowing to the idea of performing in big blockbuster movies. This is a guy who I associated with human condition, drama driven stuff, Oscar baiting movies, but in recent years he's dabbled. He was obviously in Thor: Love and Thunder, a very average movie, it has to be said. It wasn't a great movie, and I'm a huge Taika Waititi fan, but even I can admit that was an average movie. But it wasn't for the want of trying from Christian. Christian massively underutilised in that movie as Gore the God Butcher, a fantastic actor, one of the very best of his generation, if not the best, and the real poster boy for method acting in the last 10-15 years. So what could this guy do as someone like this pale, blue-faced motherfucker with red eyes? What could he do as that infamous Grand Admiral Thrawn, the villain's villain? A real cerebral villain, a guy who dissects entire civilizations, really uses their artwork and their culture to defeat them. This is the level of highbrow villainry we're talking about here, and just a fascinating character as well. My first sort of jaunt into the expanded universe was Timothy Zahn's Thrawn duology. Him, Mara Jade, just the brilliance of the mind. It was captivating. It captured your imagination reading it. It leapt off the pages. It was like watching a Star Wars movie, but it was in a fucking book. That was the level of brilliance. We have not got anywhere near. George Lucas couldn't even do it. The sort of brilliance of that villainous, I can't even, villainous, that's the word I'm looking for, sort of character. Since Disney certainly haven't accomplished it, not with Snoke, not with Kylo Ren, not with that fucking weird snake under the desert on whatever planet that was that they went to in The Rise of Skywalker. I tried to blank that movie out of my head, I'm not going to lie. And you think back to the original trilogy, it's got three amazing villains. I'm going to go low to high, and this may be blasphemous to some, But obviously, Grand Moff Tarkin is the lowest of the three. Then Darth Julius Vader, to quote one Mark Ellis of Collider fame, is in the middle of this great villainous sandwich. Then, of course, the real sort of McCoy of Star Wars villainry, Chief Palpatine himself. They were the barometer for cinematic villains for a long, long time. You can't top that, but Zan nearly did top it with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So that's what we're dealing with here. That's the level of villainry that we're dabbling with here. They're bringing him to a TV show, I believe. I'm pretty sure it's a TV show he's getting. He may even be the villain in the Ahsoka Tano TV show. She's hunting him down. We know that from The Mandalorian and the brief interactions he had with her in that. Would Christian Bale want to bring his Oscar-winning acting talents to a streaming service? Disney Plus, no less. I think this could be the blocker on it. But as you can see here, I've been off on a long-winded tangent. The man has been out speaking. He spoke with THR, and he spoke about his passion for Star Wars. This guy's a real Star Wars fan, as I'm sure we all are on some level. And he had this to say: all I ever wanted in Star Wars was to be in a Star Wars outfit and hit my head in a door or something as I walked through. The real nerds who watch Star Wars way too many times always knew about that one scene where the stormtrooper hits his head on the door as he comes through. I wanted to be that guy. That was it. We got an entire documentary based off this. There was people actually fighting with each other to claim ownership of hitting their head off of the doorframe. Stephen reviewed it. He got a comment from the director. The director didn't appreciate his review. Stephen didn't like that documentary, and he was forthcoming with his thoughts. That's critiquing. You're not always going to enjoy everything that you watch. Incidentally, I'm just hoping, as I cast my eye upon this OBS, that we're not seeing these guidelines and fucking pixel sort of things in the actual stream. I'm hoping that's just something for my eyes, because it's quite distracting. I'm not going to lie. This OBS update is shit. Truly, truly rubbish. They've went down in my estimations. I digress though. He went on to speak. He did go on to speak about his sort of relationship with Kathleen Kennedy and his love affair with Star Wars, and he had this to say: but look, I'm fortunate enough to be more than that. Oh man, yeah, what a delight that would be. I've still got the figures from when I was little. I also know Kathy Kennedy very well because she was working with Spielberg when I did Empire of the Sun, and now she runs the Star Wars universe, much to the consternation of a lot of people, incidentally. I like Kathleen Kennedy as a producer. I still don't believe she is the right fit for Star Wars, for the president of Lucasfilm. She tries to fit too much agendas in, and look, I'm the type of person who's very receptive to sort of modern social politics being thrust into the mainstream, and obviously representation and stuff like that. I am very receptive to these things politically. I stand for it, but even I at times have to say that she's went too far. She tries to push too many agendas into Star Wars, and for that and that reason alone, I believe she's not the right fit. Of course, there's a whole array of other reasons why Kathleen Kennedy is not the right fit. That's a whole other conversation. Just keeps fucking up the hiring of filmmakers, directors, people behind the scenes, issues with productions, it delays things. It's just a shambles. So his relationship with Kathleen Kennedy could be an actual blessing here if it brings the man in to play this character, but even that ain't going to be enough to save Kathleen's tenure as Lucasfilm president for me. Her mishandling of Star Wars, if you like. But look, yeah, when will he make his Star Wars debut? I'm actually not entirely sure of this as well. I'm pretty sure he is going to have a TV show. I'm not entirely sure if that's the case, but yeah, look, he's going to pop up at some point. Oh, there we go, we're getting the intro again. Fan Dabby Dozy is some little Smurfy theatre trained actor, once famously said, from Glasgow, no less. Jimmy Cranky. Even though I'm not sure if it was a man or a woman, quite trailblazing in that regard. This was a comedic theatre act from 30-40 years ago. It won't flush, a bit like a floater, simply won't go away. But yeah, man, look, I'd love to see Christian in the Star Wars universe. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, have been my entire life. I've been watching these movies since the mid-1990s, when I was but a small child, a bairn, as some may say in Scotland and in Scandinavia. I'm a huge fan. I'm passionate about this universe. I want the galaxy to thrive. I want them to do different things. As I say, such a passionate fan that I've been often read a whole array of different expanded universe novels. Some of them very good, some of them really bad. Lando serving milky hot chocolate to Luke, a sort of insomnia event Luke on a rooftop. That was a real low in the expanded universe. Grand Admiral Thrawn, Mara Jade, a real high in the expanded universe, and that was Timothy Zahn. So if we can imbue all of the brilliance, I know he's rewrote the story, he's introduced the character in a different vein. I've not actually read that novel, or novels, plural. But if we can imbue some of the brilliance of Zahn into this character and use it as a conduit through sort of Christian Bale to deliver this guy in live action form, I'm all for it, man. There's been a lot of callings for a lot of actors to play this character over the last 5-6 years. A lot of calls for Thrawn to come in to the new canon. He is part of the new canon. He has appeared in Rebels and stuff like that. Richard E. Grant was a name that came up. Benedict Cumberbatch was a name that came up. There's been a whole array. I think even Tom Hiddleston, perhaps a little more calls for him to play Chief Palpatine. So, of all the names that have come up, Richard E. Grant already appeared in Star Wars. Lackluster. Not his fault. Just a shit movie. He's off the sort of list. He can't play the character. He's too fucking old now anyway. Benedict Cumberbatch, he's already doing big blockbuster stuff, isn't he? I don't think it would work. I'd want to see him back as Sherlock, really, not as Thrawn. So for me, it's all aligning. I'd love to see Christian Bale playing this character. He's very passionate about Star Wars. He has dabbled with villains before. American Psycho, most recently Gore the God Butcher. I feel like this could be a chance for him to almost vindicate himself in a sort of blockbuster cinematic kind of universe, for lack of a better word. He obviously done a brilliant job as Batman in Nolan's trilogy. That was a kind of universe in a trilogy, but he's not really a cinematic universe kind of actor. This is a big Hollywood A-list blockbuster human condition drama actor. He's not like a fucking populist actor. Gore was underwhelming. The movie was underwhelming. His performance, he tried, but it just wasn't there. There wasn't enough for him to do in that movie. Could he reclaim it by playing Thrawn? I certainly would love it. The Star Wars fandom wants it. It's such a compelling villain, and it just feels like a brilliant fit to me. He will have to get painted up again, and that's probably a fucking downside. But man, I'm just counting down the days until we see this character appearing in live action, because he's just one of the great villains of the Star Wars universe. And seeing his brilliance popping off the screen is going to be a sight to behold. If it involves Ahsoka Tano and Rosario Dawson, that's a sort of a nice little additional good thing that comes out of it. But look, man, really looking forward to it, to see who they do cast. I personally hope it is Bale now. I don't really want Hiddleston. I don't really want Cumberbatch. I certainly don't want Richard E. Grant. I can't have any more. I stood, I cheered, I clapped. It was absolutely breathtaking. I can't wait for you to see it. That shit he was coming out with The Rise of Skywalker, that he lost a bit of respect from me after that nonsense, because that movie was an abomination. I'm looking forward to it. I personally hope that we do get to see Christian playing, obviously, Grand Admiral Thrawn. I want to see it happen. Make it so, number one. I would say to Kathleen Kennedy, the man is at your fucking door calling for it. You've had previews for listening to fan castings. You actually listened to the fandom when they wanted Rosario Dawson. Make it happen again. I say, as a little aside, thought I'd fling this in as a little sort of conjoined, fucking, don't know, dismembered twin. It doesn't fit. It's a different universe. It's a totally different character. But it's like casting, and it's rumours of casting. So I thought, you know what, I'll not go off and do a separate topic. I can't speak enough about this. Let's just fling this in. Christian Bale as Thrawn, something I definitely want to see. Zac Efron as Wolverine, potentially. Is that something that I'd want to see? I personally want to see Zac as Adam Warlock. Obviously we've got Will Poulter playing that now, and look, he's a great actor as well, and he does seem to fit the little I've seen of him on the Hall H stage, obviously, and obviously the way he's bulked up, the way he's grew the head out, the person he is in general, a real good guy. I've seen him in the likes of Wild Bill, I think it was, a brilliant actor. That's kind of settled the whole disappointment of Zack not getting to portray the character I had envisaged him portraying in the universe. Not that anyone gives a fuck about me or my thoughts, certainly not Kevin Feige or the casting directors over at Disney Marvel. But there are rumours apparently swirling that he could portray Wolverine. A recast Wolverine, of course. We're getting the great Hugh Jackman back portraying Wolverine in the next couple of years, popping up in the next Deadpool movie. I fundamentally believe that is a variant. That is not the Wolverine we've seen and loved in the Fox universe, not the future Wolverine we're going to have in this universe moving forward, but some halfway house in between holding Wolverine, goes out in a trailblazing fucking hail of fire and thunder. That kind of Wolverine. Laughs, breaking the fourth wall. Could this guy here be the next Wolverine? I can imagine this would be a Marmite choice. This would have the same reactions from the same people who hated on Heath Ledger being cast as Joker, who hated on Robert Pattinson being cast as also Bruce Wayne Batman. I actually think he's a really good actor, Zack. I do, and I like him as an individual. He comes across as a really chill, cool guy. He came up as a sort of kid actor through the Disney machine. Could have went really awry. Could have slipped down into a sort of Ezra Miller darkness, a Macaulay Culkin sort of black hole. But instead he seems to have had a nice support group round about him. He's very level-headed, and I think he is a really good actor. Is he get the grit and the sort of growl of a Wolverine though? I would suggest not. He's certainly smaller than Hugh Jackman. He's not quite as small as Wolverine in the comics, but he's smaller, so that's a step in the right direction. Can't see this guy wearing the sort of famous yellow suit with the fucking helmet thing. I think it would be much in a similar vein to Hugh Jackman's portrayal of the character. But yeah, I mean, he's been out speaking about it. I've not heard of these rumours, incidentally. I've heard of Taron Egerton. Bizarrely, Daniel Radcliffe, who's definitely not got the growl to play Wolverine. Posh English accent. No harm to you, Daniel. Big fan of you as well. Think you're a great actor. You've proven it in your theatre productions, Broadway. But you're not Wolverine. You're certainly small enough to play him though. You've got that. That's one thing you have got. But yeah, he was out. He was speaking on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, and he had this to say. He says, "Wow, they could just call me." I think Hugh's still doing that pretty well. I got to give it to him. He is, to be fair. I watched workout shots of this guy. This guy's an inspiration. Sweating blood and tears to try and get into shape. Not that he's out of shape, he's in fucking better shape than I could ever hope to be in. But he's really working hard to get back into shape to play Logan. And you can just see it all coming back, man. The dedication, the love for the character. I really do believe it's going to be a real phenomenon, this movie. I think it can genuinely be the best Marvel movie ever produced if they get it right. If all the pieces fall into place. Just the combination of Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman, these two characters, the beef they've had, fake beef they've had on social media over the last 5-6 years, it all come together. I just think it can be really, really special. But getting back to Zac Efron, man, I personally, they could call him, I don't think they are going to call him, not for Wolverine. I do believe this is more likely the Human Flame, the Human Torch, or whatever it is, Fantastic Four. I do believe we'll see this guy in this universe at some point. He's certainly got the physique, he's young enough, he's vibrant enough, he's a good enough actor. I could absolutely see him playing a character like this. Sadly, not a character like that. So that's that done. Really a brief little conversation of casting, fan castings, potential castings moving forward. Christian Bale, absolutely would love to see him playing the infamous Grand Admiral Thrawn. Brilliant villain, cerebral, just dissects cultures. Just the speed of thought, always a step ahead. Having an actor of Christian's brilliance coming in and portraying that, be it a TV show, be it a movie, is something that's just a match made in heaven. Want to see it happen. Sadly, Zac, as much as I do like him as an actor and a person, not for me, my friend, in terms of Wolverine. I don't know who the cast is Wolverine. That's a conundrum that is way above my fucking pay grade. How do you recast Wolverine? I don't know, man. Ain't my problem. I'm moving on to this Wakanda Forever. Ryan Coogler's been out. He's been speaking about this movie. It's coming up very, very shortly indeed. And he's used the Shuri and Ironheart relationship, the dynamic in this movie, to describe the movie as one with foils. It's a movie which features plenty of foils. And having read about the Namor mutant villain or anti-hero, because the actor who portrays him has been out and described his character as shirking the Hollywood trend of making all Hispanic or Latino actors villains. He says he's a hero or an anti-hero in this case. Having read about that character, his background, the culture, I'm seeing the sort of foil thing there as well with Wakanda. This underwater culture has a lot of similarities with Wakanda, but they deviate in certain ways that makes them villainous, and the other one are maybe more lusty for violence and battle than Wakanda is. Obviously in this case he is speaking though, Ryan Coogler, about Shuri and Ironheart, and he describes it, the dynamic of them. And this is what he says, I'll go right down to it. During a recent interview with EW Entertainment Weekly about the new Black Panther Wakanda Forever trailer, Coogler teases the dynamic between two characters set to play important roles in the MCU movie. Incidentally, I'm discussing this because it goes off on a tangent speaking about Ironheart that just fascinates me, and I want to get into that briefly because we were discussing this. Big personalities missing from this universe, and just a youthful edge missing. A lot of the main players are older. They're in their 40s now. Maybe time to hand up the superhero capes and helmets and hammers and give it to a new generation. I'm not saying that's going to happen, and I don't think anybody else can play these characters, and you certainly don't want to be fucking using multiverse as a way of bringing in some inferior youthful version. That's not what I'm saying. That's like society in general, replacing older, steady, experienced hands with these sort of gimmicky students who buff their way into roles or jobs. That's like a whole other fucking conversation I'm not going to get into. But as you did, you can see he's been out speaking about Shuri and Riri, I believe her name is. And as you see here, I'll just get into the actual quote. I'll not do this shit paraphrasing the quote. I'll read the actual words of the man. That seems more sensible to me. He had this to say: the film deals with a lot of things, but one of them is foils. People who exist in contrast, but there's a thread of similarity. In this film, we get to see Shuri meet someone who has some things in common with her, but also very, very different. As you can see, why he's so important to the universe. She's really, Tony Stark light, if you would like. This brilliant mind, maybe not the philanthropist brilliant mind that Tony was, but a young, bright mind who creates this suit. It's very similar to War Machine, very similar to Iron Man. And she's got a bit of an edge to her. And she's bringing that energy, and she's bringing that sort of Tony Stark energy that we've been missing. And that says it, man. I maintained this was a big fucking movie for Marvel if they can get the handing of a baton, I should say, of Black Panther just right, cast it correctly. This could give us a huge personality we need for an Avengers movie. Avenger level events, building up to an Avengers movie. We need more personality. Is Letitia right that? Is it Michael B. Jordan? Is it someone else? Another? Time will tell. But if they can get it right, if Ryan can get it right, hugely important. I've never seen this little aside though, where we could maybe get two personalities for the price of one in this movie. Could we be looking here at the Tony Stark replacement? I know we've got Ironheart, and they're exploring a lot of this potentially. I certainly think we can. I mean, you see it there, it's similar overlays. I seen it in the trailer. I thought right away that looks like an Iron Man type suit, and it was. I'm aware of Ironheart, not of the backstory. People educated us in the comments, and I'm glad they did. I'm now reading this, and as you can see here, she could actually end up filling the giant Tony Stark-sized void that has existed in the MCU ever since Robert Downey Jr.'s beloved character sacrificed himself at the end of Endgame. However, those are some big shoes to fill. They certainly are. And obviously you'd have blowback against that. You would have the inevitable misogynists coming out and saying, oh great, they've replaced Robert Downey Jr. with this young black woman. Woe betide. The sky's falling down. What are they doing? This is Disney again. Social justice warriors, snowflakes, wokeism. Fucking idiots. I'd love to see this character replacing Tony Stark. We need a Tony Stark replacement. If it's not going to be his daughter, and she's too fucking young, let's be honest, why not Ironheart? And again, it just adds so much stakes to add the S in late to this movie. It adds so much to this movie, building upon its sort of anticipation, the building of the movie coming out, but also building up to these two Avengers movies. I was reading another fucking article. We've got potentially a writer for Secret Wars. We've already got the writer and director in place for Kang Dynasty. The pieces are already being manoeuvred on this sort of hypothetical, metaphorical chessboard for the future of the MCU. We've seen it with the Infinity Saga. They already had fucking rough cuts of the movie put in place years in advance. They know what they're doing here, and the success of this movie ultimately will determine how far over an Ironheart gets, how far over, in terms of with the fandom, that's like a wrestling terminology I'm plucking out of my arse here, Letitia Wright potentially gets with Black Panther. It's a hugely important movie, and I'm really fucking hoping that Ryan Coogler gets it right. He gets the balance of Chadwick Boseman's legacy right in the movie, and that he can really handle these characters and project them, give them a great foundation moving forward. Posters. I love these fucking posters, man. Little asides are plenty in this show. This one would look perfect on my wall, and I'm going to fucking buy it. I'm not going to lie. I love the colours, the blues, the greens. It's a traditional superhero movie lineup thing going on there, but there's depth to it, man. You've got the Panthers, you've got obviously Shuri's Black Panther, I'm going to say, right there. And also Namor, and it's just very cool. Really, really cool poster. There's 3, incidentally, and I love them all. That one is fucking absolutely incredible. Namor's helmet, I believe that is, the villain. And the silhouettes, it's just beautiful. Really well constructed posters for this movie. And finally this one, probably the worst of the 3, but still, there's stuff going on there. The IMAX posters are usually the best as well. That's strange, but still really good posters. First one I absolutely love. That would look incredible on the wall, and I may be buying it. That's my excitement for this movie. I'm really fucking looking forward to this movie. As I did say, there was a brief little thing about the more Latin Americans are always the bad guys in movies, and now we are the heroes, or an anti-hero in this instance. They're going to explain this character, and that's where the whole foil thing, incidentally, looks fucking jacked out his mind. Looks great. Looking forward to this guy, first mutant in the universe. As you can see, there's sort of foils here, a hidden underwater culture, Talakan culture. It's like an Aztec kingdom. The sort of insinuation is that when Wakanda divulges all of its secrets to the world, it inadvertently reveals this culture's existence. It gives the game away. They are butthurt about this, as you would, and they come out and they attack Wakanda. That's the sort of pretext of the story. They use the vacuum of T'Challa's death, his absence, as a way to strike at Wakanda. And it's also going to celebrate the culture of Wakanda, all the cool people and places. Gives a new Black Panther. And these two very different hidden cultures coming together and locking horns. I can totally see what he's saying with the whole foil thing. I really do. I see it with Shuri and Ironheart. I see it with Namor, Talakan underwater Aztec culture, and the sort of African Wakanda culture. Both hiding, both brought out into the limelight, both following different paths thereafter. Really enjoying that binary aspect to this movie and the build up. I hope it's something that he pulls off. I'm absolutely certain Ryan will pull it off. He's a fucking great mind, a brilliant director. Spoke about him last night. I'm liking what I'm seeing with this movie. I had slight concerns with this movie. Where were they going to go with Chadwick Boseman not being there? Huge personality to lose from any production. The more I'm reading about it, the more I'm reading about the characters they're introducing, I've got real optimism that this is going to be a fucking really good movie, man. I'm liking the sort of the depth, the complexity to the story. I think this could be a better movie than the first one, and that may be blasphemy, but because there's no Chadwick. But if you can handle it, you can celebrate that man's life, and you can give it to Letitia in some way that feels right, feels organic. I see no reason why this can't be better than the first Black Panther. I really don't. I'm going to move on though to the next topic, the penultimate topic. It'll be the penultimate topic. Fuck it, I'll speak about the Batman. It's getting late, it's after 12 AM here, but who gives a shit? This will be brief. I believe this is BRZRKR. This is the name of this movie, BRZRKR. Writer reveals completion of the script. This is a movie I didn't know existed until about an hour ago. By all accounts, Keanu Reeves has wrote this movie, or involved in the writing of this movie. I think it's based off a limited comic run. And it's, as you can see, about a immortal warrior who battles his way through 80,000 years worth of timelines through the ages. And Keanu Reeves is going to be playing this warrior. And look at the eerie similarities in the appearance. If I wasn't to, think too deeply here, I would definitely be assuming that Keanu has almost been involved in the comics, wrote the story, and made himself the fucking lead. The beard line's there. The hair's there. This is fucking Keanu Reeves in a comic book. Has Keanu Reeves actually wrote the story for these comics? I'm not entirely sure. I didn't know it existed, but I tell you, I love the concept. It's perfect. I speak at the start of the show about Christian Bale and Grand Admiral Thrawn being the perfect marriage. Look at these two guys. This is the perfect marriage. This guy's going through a renaissance just now. Love him. The most down-to-earth, humble guy you'll ever meet off screen. He's a limited actor, let's be honest. He's not Christian Bale by any means, but what he does well. And this just feels perfect. This feels like a marriage made in heaven. Yeah, really. It's Mattson Tomlin, incidentally. He's been involved in the Batman 2. He's writing that with Matt Reeves just now. He shared on social media that he had completed it, BRZRKR. You get there, cut to black, the infamous cut to black at the end. That hints at a connected universe, at least another movie. Anyway, the end. Like that. We're getting the start, we're getting the end. But nothing in between. As you can see here, the initial image sent the internet into something of a meltdown. They all thought it was the fucking Batman getting revealed, but it wasn't. It was BRZRKR. It's based on a brutally violent, epic comic book saga written by... It's written by Keanu Reeves. Is the comic book saga written by Keanu Reeves? Because it all makes sense if it is. I need to look into this more. I just seen it. I thought, I'm going to speak about that. I didn't really dive into it too much. Alongside New York Times best-selling co-writer Matt Kint, folklores, blah blah blah, don't care about that. This is so interesting, man. It's a limited 12-issue comic series, man. It's just the concept's fucking great. This is like the kind of movie you'd see a Stallone or a Schwarzenegger doing 25-30 years ago and making it their own. This is just perfect. It's like that meets Kung Fury, one of my all-time favourite indie action homage kind of movies. This is fucking great. I love the concept. I love the fact Keanu's involved. I'm looking forward to this, man. I really am. BRZRKR follows an immortal warrior's 80,000 year fight through the ages. The man known only as B is half mortal and half god, and is cursed and compelled to violence, even at the sacrifice of his sanity. It's almost like fucking hell. God, why am I blanking on that? The name of that? Fuck me. Guy with the pepperoni. Horns. Red guy. Played by Ron Perlman. I can't think yet. Doesn't matter. Moving on. It's too fucking late. But it's like that. Tortured soul. Get a bit of a compulsion for violence. But as you can see, sanity. After wandering the world for centuries, this mysterious mercenary may have finally found a refuge, working for the US government to fight the battles too violent and too dangerous for anyone else. In exchange, he will be granted the one thing he desires, the truth about his endless blood-soaked existence and how it ends, or how to end it. It's almost like fucking Wolverine as well. Guy who's immortal, almost, or very slow of age, seems to survive most things, cursed, got a real lust for violence at times, and really seeks out the truth of his existence, what it all means, how to end it. It's almost like Wolverine meets, and I'm still blanking on that fucking name of it. It's really annoying me that I can't think of that. Shit. Terrible. David Harbour played the character as well. Can't remember. Doesn't matter. There's a lot of connotations coming up. But such a really cool concept. The fact it's going to be R-rated, it is releasing on Netflix. This is good for Netflix too. This is what Netflix need to be doing, man. making more original content, making more connections with guys like Keanu Reeves, who are hugely popular. The type of people who will draw eyeballs to your streaming service. They need that. They've got a real dearth of good original content. Now you can say they've had Ryan Reynolds, Dwayne Johnson, some big hitting directors over the last 5, 6, 7 years, and it's not really done them any good. But if they can make this work and it's successful and it's a trilogy, this will draw subscriptions, and it absolutely will. The fact they're doing an anime TV show spin-off, Keanu's going to be involved in that as well. They've got confidence in this, man. I'm liking the sound of it. If ever an R-rated rating was to be sort of combined with a story, it would be this one. Violent, demigod, sort of half god, half man, cursed for 80,000 years to fucking be violent and kill and fight. Just perfect. Sounds brilliant. And again, man, you should bring it up with a poster. It's not a poster, but it's artwork. It's fucking Keanu Reeves. It's just perfect, man. It really is. Keanu was out speaking about it, incidentally. He says, we're working with Netflix, who've been very cool. They're going to let us do an R-rated story, which is cool. My ambition or hope is not to do a filmed version of the comic book, so that they'll have things in common. I think that is this still Keanu? Definitely the main character and his kind of rule set, but that we can take it to other places as well. This is what Keanu's been doing, man. He's been working very closely with Chad Stahelski, the whole team that are involved with John Wick, and almost becoming a producer, semi-writer, director in his own right. He has been heavily involved in the creative content, and it's really seen a matching with his fucking exponential trajectory. It's just went like that. His career again, he's had a renaissance. He's doing really good things. It's exciting times, man, for Keanu Reeves fans, and I really like to look at that movie. I will be keeping an eye on that. That's right up my street. I fucking love the look of it, man. Just love the fact there's more zany comic book stories out there that I've not heard of. Just discovered this tonight, and it fucking sounds great. Speaking of comic book stories though, speaking about zany characters, speaking about brilliant actors, Barry Keoghan, he's not been called yet. He's not received a call from Matt Reeves, from Warner Bros, from DC, regarding a potential return as the Joker for the Batman 2. He had this to say. He was speaking with GQ, and he said this. He revealed he hasn't been called, approached about a return, but as soon as the call comes, I'm there, man. I'm there. He had that to say, and he's on to explain his experience as the Joker, brief though it was, a cutscene, a bit charming and a bit hurt. He's on to say, I wanted some sort of human in there behind the makeup. I want people to relate to him. This is a facade he puts on. A broken down boy. There was 7, I was number 4, lads, with 4 minutes of screen time, not bad, eh? Blah, 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 blah. This is brief, man. I'm going to keep this very brief. This is the last topic, because it's fucking late here. Needless to say, this doesn't worry me. I'm not concerned about Barry Keoghan not getting the call to come back as Joker for this movie, because I never wanted him to come back for this movie in the first place. This is the kind of bridging movie. You go off and do something different. You expand the world out. You maybe mature Bruce, because Bruce is still a bit of a grungy emo at heart, a bit eccentric, a bit introverted. Get him out, have him interact with the world, become a better Batman, a better Bruce, a better human being, and then you bring back Paul Dano's Riddler, you bring in Barry Keoghan's Joker, you explore that storyline that was discussed, it was heavily rumoured, but it's almost them battling each other to see who gets to kill Batman, or be his primary focus point, for lack of a better word. That's what I want to see. You don't want to see Joker in the middle film again. It's fraught with danger. And there's been too many fucking Jokers recently. We've had Jared Leto, we've had Joaquin Phoenix. Have a bit of a break from Joker. Let it rest for about 3-4 years. Bring him back for the last movie, and it'll all work nicely. Keoghan's a brilliant actor. Let him fester with the character. Do something truly special with it. The more time he has to marinate with his own mind, thoughts for this character, the better performance we're going to get in the end. I'm absolutely certain of it. Let's go and round it up though, man. I'm done. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to everything. I'm looking forward to ending this show, because my throat is going. Not going to lie, it is going. What's your thoughts on all the topics I touched on? What do you make about Christian Bale potentially coming in as Grand Admiral Thrawn? He's expressed an interest in being part of the Star Wars universe. He's a fan of Star Wars. The fans want it. Do you want it? I do. Share your thoughts down below about that. Share your thoughts about Black Panther Wakanda Forever being a movie of foils. Shuri and Ironheart, two very similar but very different figures. Namor and his underwater Aztec culture, very similar to Wakanda but different. Thoughts on the movie in general, the posters, the full shebang. Share your thoughts down below if you've got anything to say. BRZRKR, Keanu Reeves comic book R-rated movie on Netflix. Are you excited for it? Finally, Keanu, are you worried that he has not had a call yet from DC or Warner Brothers for a return as Joker? He will be back, there's no doubt about it. I'm not worried, are you? Share your thoughts down below if you've got anything to say. Comment section is the place to put it. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. On YouTube the same, over on Twitch follow, notifications button over there to see us doing live stuff, because that's all you get on Twitch is live content, no pre-recorded stuff over there, unless you're a dodgy ASMR streamer, in which case you stream and then you put a pre-recorded video up and rake the money in. That's fucking illegal, that shouldn't be happening, that's a joke. Regardless of what you do though, thank you for watching, appreciate it if you have watched, that is, and until the next time, I am done, bye bye.